Hey, there we go. Hello, hello.
We're live.
We are. We did
It
it.
works.
We coordinated one extra person for our stream.
It's a tight fit. Here, let me try to get my head the same size.
Wait, I'm looking the wrong way. There we go. Raph's messing it up. He's in the center. Wait,
Sorry, that's me.
John, you've got to get in the center here. We've got to move you. You're running the
Okay,
show.
I'll scooch over. We're
Boom.
sitting. Oh, there we go. Okay, it worked. We're sitting
Perfect.
so close together.
Well, this is your show, man. You go ahead and this is your show. You run it.
I didn't put anything together. You want? Okay. All right. Here we go. Welcome to this very unusual episode of Speaking with Spintax. I am Spintax. You may know me as John, the community manager at the Stellar Development Foundation. The reason that this episode is the way it is, we'll just go ahead and talk about why we're in a very strange and unusual format for what we're used to. Elon Musk broke Twitter today, and he said it won't be fixed until tomorrow, but we had a Speaking with Spintax on schedule. So
Pivot, man.
I figured we would pivot. We were going to have Raph and J. Rome on anyway, so I'm just taking over their podcast. I don't know if anybody's familiar, but this is how their podcast is run. So here we are.
Perfect.
It's very cozy.
I just like that we have this on video together. This is nice.
Yeah,
you might enjoy this. It might be you might just quit Twitter Spaces from now on and just do video.
Well, the video, I don't know. There's something about it makes me feel like I need to watch what I say a little bit more. So maybe it's for the best.
You don't have those weird facial expressions during a Q&A that you can't hide. You know.
Yeah, you can't roll your eyes.
I can't do that. You're out of here every time I knock somebody off stage.
Yeah, and Q&As are a little bit harder to do, so you don't have to worry about booting people out of Q&As as much. So
Yeah, I can just ignore what people write in the chat, right?
Yeah, and that's on the right side of the screen. I don't know if you familiarized yourself with our fun part here, but
I've never used this before.
Enrique's already with us. Colette Freeberg, BES Metaverse. We got everybody. Everybody's excited for this.
I saw 3 of them, right?
Yeah, that's everybody.
Let's go.
Yeah, well, that's what we learned the other day because Raph and I just switched to do some Twitter stuff, and so just to spread the audience a little bit, cast a wider net, I guess you could say, but that means not everyone gets funneled to YouTube. So I don't think the number in the corner of the screen really reflects people viewing on Twitter. But
I don't have a number.
You don't have a number?
I don't have the chat.
Maybe I didn't make you an admin
to see the chat.
You're just a regular user. We didn't give you admin rights. We didn't. You seem kind of sketch, so we.
I thought I was the host.
Get out of here!
I thought I was running this thing. All right.
Cool. So what are we here for? What were we originally going to chat about?
So, I imagine the people watching this are somewhat familiar with the absolute media blitz that we put out yesterday for Stellar 8 Assist. Stellar 8 Assist is a platform that enables people to send aid basically almost anywhere in the world, not quite everywhere, but more places than most people, places, and things can do it to. So basically the magic soup mix is Stellar Network's system of on and off ramps, which I think is really what sets us apart from everybody. And then, of course, our amazing ecosystem partners that we have now with the UNHCR and IRC.
Yeah, it was cool yesterday during the YouTube live, and the lady said from MoneyGram, she's like, "This shows the best of all 3 of us. What we can do." I
agree. Yeah, and I think that's kind of the takeaway is this is a good thing. Like, you can slice it however you want. You can have whatever biases that you have about cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, just the industry as a whole. Really is kind of a bit of a shadow over it from just shenanigans that don't have anything to do with the tech stack. But yeah, I mean, I've seen people try to put like a negative spin on it, and you can't. There's a quote I'm not going to name publications. I saw a quote though that was basically this is not a good thing, even though they're doing a good thing, was basically the quote. And I was like, see, you can't even say anything bad about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
people are writing stuff and just not knowing what they're talking about. I mean, some of these articles that are coming out using, I don't know how they figure out these experts or whoever, but there was one that lady that made a comment, something White was her name, and made a comment.
Y'all pulling out the guns, bringing names into it.
Like, well, hey,
I can pull up the screenshots if you
want.
No.
He deserves it.
Okay.
Because she said, these people are going to get money USDC into their Vibrant wallet, and they could, start dabbling in altcoins, or I forget the exact word she used, but like crazy altcoins, and that's not the way that Vibrant works at all. It's not a full featured trading application like Binance or Coinbase or anything like that. So did zero research, and it's funny because when I looked up her Twitter profile to see who was making these comments, like her bio says like crypto researcher. And if you can't go as far as even like downloading the app that you're making a comment about, then I think you should probably remove that from your bio.
I'm surprised that nobody went through that article and like fact checked. Like nobody did anything. It was just random people commenting on what was being released without any back understanding of Stellar or the product that was being offered. I don't know.
Yeah. But before we get into the week, is there anything else? Because I kind of wanted to hear more of like the backstory from your side, because obviously you work for SDF. So before we get into the weeds too far, like I kind of want to hear like the whole backstory. Like, when did you first hear about this? When, like, obviously you had to keep it under wraps for a long time. I mean, I think on our show, Raph and I show the other day, I mentioned the 3 is a magic number, Danelle's blog post from forever ago. I'm pretty sure this is the project that was being talked about back in, I think that was April or March of this year. So I'm sure it's been, in the works for a long time, just kept under wraps. So just like from your point of view, working for SDF, like how was it watching this unfold from the inside?
I can't give you an exact date of, when I first heard about it, but there was somebody in the Stellar Global community on the speculation channel they were just kind of like ragging on Vibrant about how there wasn't much going on with it. And I said something like, I don't think this post is going to age well.
Oh yeah. I remember
and
that.
He has reminded me of it every other month, maybe since then. And this is finally my day of vindication. I haven't rubbed it in yet, but I need to get around to doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So this has been in the works for a while. I think there were a few times we thought it was going to happen earlier. And these things they're complicated. They take time. The UNHCR is a humongous organization. There's a lot of bureaucracy that goes into, keeping all this stuff the way it is, like trustworthy and good. And bringing new people into the fold, I think is takes some doing, especially an industry that has the current the current zeitgeist opinion of it is the way it is. I think that everyone's done a great job of getting this thing done, and everyone has been, from my perspective, everyone has understood it for what it is. And so I honestly was a little bit surprised when the news came out, and then there were people with like differing opinions about whether or not this is a good thing. But I think at the end of the day, it's fine. As the party that is delivering, that is enabling the delivery of aid to refugees, I kind of feel like we have the moral high ground, so we get to.
Can I share my screen for a sec? I have the tweet from Elliot that I don't know. This was cool. He says, "I'm so proud and honored to be working with the good guys of the cryptoverse."
Yeah.
And I think that's like why we're with Stellar and why we kind of gravitate is we understand the mission and what change we can do. And yes, there's a lot of noise in the space, but like, again, like you said, like, I just feel like we're doing something good here.
And it's the vibe of, like you don't come into our communities and have people talking about token prices a whole lot, which is, that's kind of where it's at, to be honest. This is keep your head down, quietly build, and then when it's ready, we're going to put it out there, and that's going to be pretty cool. And this is just the kind of stuff that we do.
And so obviously you mentioned yesterday there was a media blitz. So tell us about like all the coordination that went into yesterday.
Yeah. So speaking of like the dates changing for us announcing this and everything, this has kind of been a bit of a moving target for a while. The SDF marketing team met in New York this last week. We were planning to meet in New York to develop and go over a strategy for 2023, and then this became a thing that was going to happen yesterday. Well, it wasn't suddenly yesterday, but like the weeks prior, we learned, oh, this is going to happen while we're in New York. So a lot of the time in New York was spent. We kind of crammed in the strategy stuff, and then the rest of it was really spent just like prep work for the 15th, because it was a lot going live on the 15th. It was so much content that I was to the point where I'm like, I'm just gonna make like a link tree for this because like every time somebody asked about it, I was like, here's 6 or 7 links for you to check out, and here's like a 2-page synopsis of what's going on.
Yeah, there was a lot of content, everything from like the technical side about the Stellar disbursement platform and all that stuff that the dev kind of side was interested in, and then obviously all the news articles and blog posts. And then there was because it was kind of separated, right? There was the UNHCR stuff, but then there was also IRC, and it wasn't kind of announced together, I guess.
Yeah.
There was kind of like press releases for both sides, right?
Yeah. And that's just through like agreements with both of them. That's just how everybody wanted it to be. So
yeah,
there you go.
I mean, it worked out. And then there was a couple other things. So I mean, the disbursement platform is something that is kind of what makes this all work. And so that's kind of interesting to me. And I know I saw Jake Urban had a post yesterday kind of explaining how everything worked. And I did see that it was going to be open source next year. I think like in Q2, they were looking to open source that. So it'll be interesting to see other people jump on board.
Yeah, it would be awesome to see it everywhere, basically. And that's, I think, just kind of having talked about it for like 30 hours straight now, I kind of get lost. I lose this sense of like, hey, who I'm talking to might not be familiar with it yet. So I do want to go back and just kind of from like from like the technical standpoint of how exactly this works. So basically, an aid organization like the UNHCR or IRC, they have the money, and they want to get that money to people that are very far away from them. That may be in a situation where they don't have necessarily the same financial infrastructures as you and I. So a tool for them to do that now is going to be the Stellar Network. And basically what they can do is they can set up an account for people and send USDC to that account. Those people can then access that account and use MoneyGram, which is, I think, our largest on and off ramp globally. So I think there's like 4,000 locations in Ukraine. Is that right?
4,500 is what the US MoneyGram was saying.
So yeah, someone yesterday said they were mostly banks, or it was something. It was dealing with banks. I think it was Tory Samples mentioned something in a tweet or something that they were mostly dealing with banks, or I forget where I saw that, but.
Well, I think that's a good thing because, I mean, if you're sending these people $500, getting that from like a corner store is pretty difficult. So I think that's perfectly fine. But yeah, so people get these accounts with USDC on them, and then they can swap the USDC out at these physical locations for fiat. And that's pretty good.
I found it pretty cool to set up. So the how to use the Vibrant wallet, kind of walk through each step that a refugee would kind of go through. We don't see the localization features that I'm sure Vibrant has to translate the app. There's going to be probably some difficulties for refugees to understand the technology that's happening, even if it's dead simple. Translation, access to internet or even electricity, access to locations, even though there's 4,500. Again, that might not mean much if you're in a war-struck country and you can't move. But I did really appreciate from this blog post here, walking through exactly step by step how do they make it work. So they get set up through Twilio. They get they set up through a text message, and then they use their phone number to log into Vibrant. And then once they navigate into Vibrant, they automatically have their USDC, which then they can go and bring to a MoneyGram location to cash out the cash. And then there's a video for each part, which is kind of cool. And the KYC, I think it happens almost twice. I think through the aid organization, through the platform, depending on how the organization wants to set it up, and at the end with MoneyGram. So once a person cashes out to cash, whatever MoneyGram uses for KYC in that local is how they would actually KYC again. So there's some really good accountability for people to not abuse of this. I know that historically in the Ukraine, there has been a lot of abuse, and in also usually aid disbursements is like a pallet of cash. Like they bring a pallet of cash and they ship it out to a country and then they send it out to people. There's very little accountability of where that goes. So now with Stellar Aid Assist, there's like all these analytics for tracking down where this where this money is going to and how it's being used. So very excited to see in a couple of months, the data that's coming back from this, if it's being shared.
Yeah, and some additional bonuses to that are since we're delivering digital cash assistance through the blockchain, you get the added bonus of transparency for end-to-end traceability of funds on the blockchain. You have basically instant bulk disbursements. So, I mean, I think that's huge. You don't have to like ship stuff and then have separate people carry it like all over the country. You just instantly send that all out. You also have accessibility. So recipients don't need bank accounts to access this aid. So even if, like, say someone's displaced, right now it's just for displaced peoples within the Ukraine border. But say some of these people were pushed into Poland and they're unable to get a bank account in Poland at the moment. That's okay. They don't need to have a bank account for this. There's also the added bonus of stability. So digital dollars sent via Stellar provided a stable store of value for people. I'm not exactly not keeping up with the hryvnia at the moment, but there are definitely other regions that are affected by hyperinflation. So that's a consideration. And again, this isn't something that we expect to be just in Ukraine. This is something that will be for everywhere.
What did Danelle say yesterday? What locations they were looking at?
No, so we're pretty early on. So I would.
Nice try, Raph. Nice try.
I thought she said that we're working on something in her AMA yesterday. I thought there was like a Ghana and Sri Lanka and somebody else said something else. She wasn't specific. She just said.
So those were people asking about if it would be available there, and I think kind of got answered in the sense of, is MoneyGram cash in available there, is kind of what I thought that was going towards. I'm pretty sure cash out's available there in those countries though. And to complete my list, portability is a huge thing because people are going to be able to carry this digital asset between borders, and there's not going to be, if you're like in a corrupt country where the border patrol is going to take any cash that you have on hand, they're not going to be able to get at this. Yeah. And then the final thing is the global cash out system that we have in place. And it's not just, for this right now, it's MoneyGram, but Stellar has, like, if you want to go outside of the rails that are in place for this, they have the USDC. They could use a different off ramp from the Stellar network if they wanted to. That involves a little bit of tech savvy at the moment, just knowing how to like find those things, who to go to, but put that on rails for people, and you're good to go. You know, like it's just one of those things. Like the internet wasn't easy to use in the early days either.
Yeah, I think I find very personal what you said about like a refugee that leaves the country, because we have a lot of Ukrainian students in my school. And like a lot of them, for the start of it, they were like joining a soccer team and they couldn't go pick up cleats, or they didn't have a bank account. Like they actually could not participate in the economy because they didn't have access to the financial infrastructure. So I'd like to see a lot more of the traditional finance start accepting these methods of payments, because there is a significant delay between access to these financial structures that they're just excluded in, because they're just not a part of it. They don't have the IDs, they don't have the credit history. There's a lot of ramifications once you leave your country, especially when you don't have your stuff. So yeah, it'll be cool to see this get plugged into a lot more in the future.
And I think an important thing to consider here is, you go to like Thanksgiving dinner. There were some people in my family that were like, what's the point of blockchain? I've got a bank account. And I was like, well, yeah, you have a bank account. Not everybody has a bank account. Not everybody has access to the financial system that we have. And I think in a situation like this, where, Ukrainians had access to a financial system similar to the tier that we're on, now they don't in some cases. I think that's, it's a healthy reminder that the way things are it may not always be that way. So there's nothing wrong with having, a backup plan.
Yeah. It's kind of scary. Like we define a lot of this news from a North American perspective. But people all around the world deal with money very differently. Even in Canada over the last 20 years, older couples, the man dies and the female has never used online banking in her lifetime. So for her, it's like a huge step to learn how to use these financial tools. So again, like we have a very different version of what finances look like. And I can guarantee you that in a country where they're going through war, like, okay, yes, they have to learn to use the tools that they need to survive. And if we can create these tools that they can use to survive, they're going to learn how to use them. And then that's going to push for ultimate adoption, and then of technologies that make their life easier.
And I think it's a small hurdle though, because like you said, Vibrant itself is very bare bones. But also, I mean, Vibrant's mentioned multiple times that they want to incorporate other features, whether it's, yield earning abilities, or I know they have gift cards in Canada now for RAF to use.
I'm not supposed to.
big fan of the gift card option with Badali there. But it'll be interesting to see, since you can obviously track it on the blockchain, if those options become available to them in Vibrant, if some of them do have that, so they don't need everything they were given to pay for electricity or housing or something at that moment, do they keep it in there and, learn about the ecosystem and earn some yield on all their excess and kind of use it as a savings account, escape inflation, earn some yield, stuff like that. So it'll be interesting. I mean, unless someone sniffs out all the accounts this is coming from and can figure it out, I'm sure that'll just be internal to SDF, all of that, information, but it'll be interesting to see on your guys' end how that works out.
I gotta be honest, I'm fully expecting people to track down the distribution wallets, and basically people keeping track of whether or not people are off-ramping, hanging on to stuff, what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, especially now since volumes are low for kind of everything.
Yeah.
Finding an account, sending out a ton of USDC, it shouldn't be too hard. But yeah, it'll be interesting. And the Vibrant accounts, just due to the signing setup and stuff like that, you can kind of tell what's a Vibrant account and what isn't. And I think we showed on our show the other day how the Vibrant account that creates all the Vibrant account has been creating a lot of them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I know you guys. I think it was you guys found one of the. You guys found like a test wallet that was sending out test payments for this program with memos that had UNHCR written in them.
Yeah,
We
might have been the one to talk about it, but we weren't the ones to find it.
Okay, so somebody found that and was circulating that. Somebody DM'd me and asked about it, and I quietly went to the.
You blamed it on us, is what you were going to say?
No, team, I was like, these are.
We've seen these two jokers on YouTube. They're the ones. It was them.
Well, I was just like, this is public ledger, so
yeah. I mean, it wasn't like encoded. It was literally in the memo, UNHCR. So
I think I talked to Tori Samples at Meridian, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't think they were supposed to use those memos, but they did."
It's all for the good or good. Nobody got hurt. So
yeah, and another thing that I kind of seemed interesting yesterday was, I think it was at the end of Jake Urban's post, he made mention about how just with all the noise and craziness, like as a developer, it can kind of get to the point where you're like, like, is everyone right? Like, am I really working towards something meaningful or something? And he said that like with the release of this, like it gave him like renewed energy, so I don't know, Raph, are you pulling that up in the background? I see you moving around over there.
Yeah, well, I think I was talking, Tyler was doing the same thing. Tyler's been around for a long time too, and he said this is for him kind of like the meaningful application that he's been waiting for. So while the rest of us are out there goofing around, hoping someday someone will build something, the team shipped out that thing. So like this is, I don't know, I think everyone from SDF right now is just super proud. It's cool seeing.
By the way, that newspaper, you could not find that the morning of, because we had all bought all of them. And I know that because I was the last person to try to buy one.
Yeah.
And I had to wait until I got to the airport to find one.
There were that many SDF people there.
I had a guy at a bodega yell at me. He was like, I don't know why everybody's trying to buy these papers. They're coming in buying 3 or 4 at a time.
What are people doing buying traditional newspapers right now? Don't you know?
That's a good question.
Yeah, he was probably excited though. They don't have to recycle all those.
Here's the thing. This is the Jake Urban stuff. Here it is. I don't know. He went all in. He I don't know how. Even Lee like does a lot of the back end, the heavy dev work. And like when you see like your product come to life and offer meaningful change, I think that can be pretty rewarding. So again, I think this is Jake Urban's post that you're kind of.
Jake's got some great tweets.
Yeah, right there. Lately, it's been hard for me to remain confident about our industry's future. Yeah, that was the line I was talking about.
Yeah. The amount of SDF people that were online and retweeting and liking everything that was being posted. I feel like everyone was on a high yesterday.
Yeah, like even David. I saw David tweeted it, and I was like, oh, I don't think I've ever seen a tweet by him. And so I went to his profile, and it was like the tweet about this, and then it was a bunch of complaints about his like cell phone, his like Google Pixel or something like that. He's like,
yeah, there it is.
David's got a bit of a weaponized Twitter account.
Yeah.
But yeah. Jerome was talking about it the other day. He said, if it was anyone but Danelle, I don't think we would, have the same voice that we have in the industry. And again, like, don't get me wrong, like David's not like he brings a complete different perspective to things. But for someone who's so well spoken like Danelle, like I don't know, whenever you hear her speak in these live announcements, it just reinforces the fact that she's the one that's meant to do this.
Yeah, like Jed bringing her on, or whoever was responsible for bringing her on, was huge. Like, I mean, I love Jed. Everybody, at least in Stellar, loves Jed. But there's I don't think he enjoyed the public aspect. Like, that was not his thing. And so, like, now seeing Danelle having, like, the background that she has, like, whether it's like those, when she does those live shows and they start asking her the crazy stuff about Ripple comparisons or something, and, like, she's just able to just, like, roll with the punches, and there's no, like, awkward pause and like, well, it's like she just, yeah. So yeah, there was a clip, her intro the other day for that Bloomberg thing. That's what made me think of it, because it was like they actually read her bio and they're like, she's done this, she's done that, she's been on the Hill, she's an advocate for this, she's from, strong open source background. Like, and it just clicked to me. I was like, wow, we're like we're lucky to have, Danelle there. So you're lucky to have Danelle.
Yeah.
I am, yeah. Danelle, hands down, huge component to this working. It was Danelle's leadership.
It's on video, so we can tell if you're lying or not. So we're watching you.
We'll run this through a lie detector.
Can somebody clip that and tweet it to Danelle, please?
Yeah. Lie detector AI. We'll see if you're telling the truth or not.
I think you're not the first one. We've heard it for a couple of people from SDF that they don't know how they would do it without her. So
yeah, Danelle's great.
Yeah.
And then another thing that I wanted to talk about is like, obviously this is community focused, this call, like how does the community like keep like this momentum going? Like what's the best avenue for us to keep this going? And was there supposed to be a hashtag or something? Excuse me, yesterday. Like I see the stellar IRL on some of these or whatever, but it occurred to me yesterday as I was like tweeting some stuff. I'm like, is there supposed to be a hashtag I'm using for all this stuff?
So the stellar IRL stuff is, I think this is just kind of the start of it. It's really a social campaign that I think you're going to see more in as we go into 2023. We didn't really have like a hashtag for this. I think, SDF didn't want to make it like necessarily all about us. This is not just something that we're doing. We're not delivering aid, like we don't have the money that we're sending to people. So I think we've kind of, what would we have done as a hashtag is kind of the question there. It would have been stellar aid assist. In my opinion, that's what it would have been. And I think that just kind of completely cuts out IRC and the UNHCR. Yeah. So it just didn't feel right. it wasn't up to me like solely, but to me that just didn't seem like the thing to do. So
people use hashtags anymore? Is that a thing?
That's kind of the other thing. Is like,
well, I mean, like the whole trending thing, like it made me think, because there was literally like a blitz, like you're saying, and a lot of it was on Twitter. So if there was like a hashtag blockchain for good or something to try and cut through all the noise, it's all just like hashtag, FTX fraud or, just like all the craziness. And
unfortunately, it's just the news cycle that we're in. And we're not going to push off helping people so that we're in a better news cycle. Mm-hmm. It's just, we got blindsided by the Trump NFTs,
which was way too popular for the good stuff.
Which I think was our big media cycle competitor for the crypto space, was the boomer QVC NFT campaign.
Should just bought them all and like send them to a burn address or something like that, just to like stop the madness. Yeah. It was like 45 at 1 ETH a piece. It was the marketing budget.
They sold out.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Can I share my screen one more time? Sorry, and this is kind of what we were talking about at the bottom here. So you can't even see it. Can you see that? Oh, just the bottom. The last line that I love is that, even if the markets are down and people are, crying and then everyone's trying to avoid the word, blockchain or crypto, what I really appreciated from this ad was at the end, it said proudly on the blockchain. Like, we can't undersell what we are. We are a technology and it works. And if we keep saying, that there's issues with it, or the fraudsters define the industry, then we're just kind of losing our message. And like talking about all the noise, like Trump NFTs, just like hiding all the good stuff that's happening in the background.
It's criminal, to be honest. Like, it's absolutely criminal that's something that people are going to report on instead.
So when we see something like that, just we're advocating for the technology, we're saying that that's what we're using, and that's kind of where I'm scared of UNHCR is. Like, I hope that they advocate and they help other people use the technology, because there is good things from it, and there's efficiencies that can be done. So I really appreciated that line, proudly on the blockchain, personally.
Yeah. So overall, how do you think yesterday went with like getting the attention of some like larger voices that there's good out there?
I think it went really well. We were all pretty pleased at SDF about just the reception in general. And, even though there were some people that just, they're on the payroll for, having a negative outlook, which I appreciate having like balanced articles, having balanced opinions where you have somebody who's super for it and somebody that's not, and they can kind of go back and forth. I feel like even those people could not, there just wasn't anything bad to say about this. Even one guy, like he started dredging up, like Ripple got brought into the conversation. And I was like, how does that has nothing to do with that? And if that is how far back you have to reach, multiple, like 7 years, 8 years, you have to reach back that far to find something bad to say about this. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. There's not many blockchains that could make this happen. And I think SDF and Stellar has the patience to work with partners, to walk them through it and set up the infrastructure that they need to build these projects out. And to have something that's instantaneously and practically free, it's not something that you can do anywhere. So I think they chose the right partners, and we have the right community to kind of go and say it. I don't know, the people that gravitate towards Stellar right now in the bear market, those are the people we want to hold on to. So again, I feel like advocating in a bear market is the best thing we can do.
Yeah, and I think honestly, I don't know how many people agree with me, but my firm opinion about this is that the community, you guys not being like a bunch of moon boys saying crazy stuff, is one of the reasons that UNHCR and IRC agreed to even like come on board, is because it's not like such and such chain or such and such chain where it's a token pump. It's just literally people trying to build something, and nobody's worried about. Well, some people are worried about token prices, but like nobody has that basically as their identity in the space.
I think that's big. It's not our identity, the valuation of the price. It doesn't really change the value that we're bringing. It just changes your perception of it. And fortunately, we're going to have to try to convince you that that perception of real value is different. So, and that's like I tweeted out yesterday about MoneyGram, and I really appreciate that they're making that commitment and making real life changes to humanity. And that costs them money, and like they're a private company that's separate. They don't necessarily have the mandate to do that. Mm-hmm. So to see big industries that are willing to, they understand their technology has a lot to offer, and they're working to better the human condition, is cool to see, and I can identify with that.
Yeah, I don't think they're actually private yet.
Or they're not private? They're still public?
I don't think it's closed. I think it should be close, but I don't think it's closed, because I had some MGI in a retirement account, and I don't think I haven't got the notice that it is now turned into cash as opposed to stock, but I think it should be somewhere close. But yeah, like you're saying, when you don't have shareholders to answer to, they're not, looking for the bottom line, then you do have a little more flexibility from the MoneyGram side to invest in things like this, that there might not be an immediate payoff, but you're kind of doing the legwork to in the future. Then you can kind of turn those knobs and turn it into money. So.
Yeah, and I hope I'm not getting myself into trouble here saying this, but like you're talking
didn't record. Right?
You're saying it live.
Here we go. Let's watch John lose his job. Here we go.
You're talking about not having the same like type of stakeholders, and I feel like that is one of the reasons that we're able to do this kind of stuff and spend the amount of time that we have to build this infrastructure to get to this point. It's because we don't have there's no VCs. There's no like Daddy Morebucks looking over our shoulder asking us like, where are you at with this? So we were able to take the amount of time that it takes to do this the right way. Because I guaranteed if somebody had been breathing down our neck, maybe we could have gotten it out earlier, like 6 months earlier. Would it have been the same product? I think that's the difference there.
Yeah. Well, Carmen was at Meridian, and she was there the entire time and spent time in sessions to learn about what was offered on Stellar.
And I think you guys made a really good impression on her too. Not just you two, but like the community. I think she went away from Meridian saying, "Oh, these people are actually like, they are passionate about this, and it is not just a money grab," which I think is like that's the biggest kind of misconception about the space, is that everybody's just in it for like a quick buck. or people are just in it to scam people, and that it's all just like an industry built on greed. Don't get me wrong, there's a ton of greed in the industry, but not everybody is here to do that. Like some of us are here to actually build something.
Yeah, it's not all speculation and money related. Like the underlying technology is the important part. Like there's a speculation side where there's certain assets that that might be what they're meant for, but there's also the side, there's the technology underneath, which it's good that, I mean, Stellar can abstract a lot of that away, and it just can work in the background, and you don't have to really know what's happening behind the scenes. You know, for all people know, with the Vibrant wallet, like that could be almost like a banking app, and it's like there's money in a bank, and like you go and the MoneyGram talks to your bank. Like they don't need to know that it's blockchain behind there. So, and then even like the key recovery, like Vibrant, the key recovery that's used, like if you lose your login to Vibrant, it's not like something else where you lose your private key and your just access is totally gone. Like the signer setup and stuff that's used on Vibrant, you're never going to get locked out of there. So there's a lot of things that are unique about Stellar that, makes it a good fit.
Yeah. So I really like the SDF approach, the different communities to sponsor, just offer sponsorship for a donation, which is super cool.
Thank you. That's my idea.
I really appreciate it. I thought that was cool, getting everyone involved with the news and making a personal connection to the change that we're kind of doing. So you sent out today that you got a recipe. You got a recipe.
Yeah, so I don't want to. I am not allowed to push in either direction. So yes, of our two partners, we donated equal amounts on behalf of community groups. One of those two did send me a recipe, though, so I can't tell you who.
Sounds not better than the other, but I'm here.
But one did send me a recipe, and it sounds delicious, and I'm going to make it.
Can you make it on camera with us? Can we do it as speaking of Spintax?
Cooking with Spintax?
Like multiple locations. We all cook at once.
Can we all do it at the same time and then try to see
compare what comes out? I think that'd be great.
Let's go. The cooking culinary challenge. We'll do a Master Chef Stellar edition. We can get everyone in the community to go.
That's a great idea. We mail all of them, all of the dishes we freeze them and mail them to a judge.
And this is how Stellar killed someone.
Yeah, I'm not involved in this anymore. This is an entirely community run event.
That's right.
Disappear. So where, like I had asked, like how can the community help? Like what are the ways that we can kind of keep the train headed down the tracks in the right direction here?
Keep talking about it, man. Stop talking about SBF. For the love of Jesus.
There's so many acronyms that sound like SDF. Now we've got the SDF. Now we got the SCP. We got SCF. Like there are so many.
Okay, here we go. No more acronyms. Yeah. That's what we do. No more acronyms.
We do.
There's gonna be a lot of misspellings every time. It's the Stellar Development Foundation. Every time. We're gonna shorten it. We're gonna shorten the name. We're gonna rebrand.
Yeah.
So,
what are we gonna call ourselves?
SDF. It's just letters now. Yeah, it's not even an acronym anymore.
I guarantee you someone saw it in the headlines. Someone's like, it's just SBF.
Yeah. It's
maybe a bonus for us, though. A little media boost.
Couple extra clicks.
Yeah. And then, I mean, my hope was that all the attention, like instead of, if there's people coming to check Stellar out, like obviously we want them to learn about Stellar 8 Assist and stuff like that, but also like Sorbonne's the next big thing. And like,
yes,
we're trying to, get that out there. And of course there's another Sorbonne-a-thon tranche of funds for developers and stuff coming out of the 100 million. And so like,
I got 99 million more.
Yeah. I got 99 million left in the Sorbonne-a-thon. So like, it would be nice to be able to get those people that become interested. Like, here's the next thing. Like, this is also what we got because I think, Stellar has this perception of it's been around so long. Like, what are they doing? And like a lot of people don't even know that smart contracts are coming. So it would be nice if we could parlay all this new attention into here's also what's coming up.
So I've had a couple of thoughts about this, and this is kind of an idea that's been kind of pinging around in my head for a couple of things. So the first one is the concept is a heel. You guys are aware of heel, right?
A yield, or
like in wrestling?
Oh, like you're yielding to someone.
No, a heel, like a bad guy in wrestling. J-Rome knows.
I don't know.
J-Rome's a WWF guy, right?
It was lost in the Canadian translation. They don't have that. They don't have that word up there. I don't think.
A heel is a guy that everybody loves to hate, right? And so bring people together, hating this guy. So my first idea for the heel was hiring another community manager, have him be the heel, or her, and really kind of bind you guys together. So that was my first, that was when I first started of using the heel idea. The other thing is I've noticed a lot of attention was given to Stellar when Danelle went to Capitol Hill, and in my opinion, didn't say that what she said, in my opinion, was pretty fair about other networks and power consumption and these types of things. And how people are, talking about regulation and stuff. Danelle kind of became the heel for that day on Twitter, and a lot of people were talking about Stellar. Well, I also noticed we released a document, not even widely distributed document, but it was basically I don't know if you guys remember during Project Jump Cannon when we were building Sorbonne. We put together a document that basically was what platform should we use, what language and everything. And so we went and looked at other platforms that were in the industry and just kind of gave our opinion of, do these work well or not. And there were a few with the Algorand platform. We said, I don't remember exactly what we said, but it was something along the lines of may not be efficient, may not be the most efficient language to use. And I lurk around in other ecosystems, communities, just kind of see what's going on. And I saw the Algorand devs talking about how hey, Sorbonne might be okay, but listen to what they said about our platform. I can't believe they said this. I'll never touch Sorbonne because of that. But there were a bunch of people talking about Sorbonne because of that. But their interpretation was basically, they said Algorand was slow, which we didn't say, but this is how things happen in the crypto world, is you say one thing and people hear another.
Wasn't that there's a word for that when you can say the wrong thing to get people to talk about it? You say something non-factual, you say a lie, and then people go to correct you and they go say the right thing. I don't know what that is. Maybe I'll go Google it.
So I'm sure it's not the right move to become the industry heel, but it might work.
Yeah, because when she was on Capitol Hill,
Jordan, I'm not serious. We shouldn't be the heel.
You're getting DMs.
Not yet, but I can imagine.
Yeah, but I remember that when she was on Capitol Hill, it was someone maybe from an exchange, I want to say, like a CEO of an exchange or something, and they said, what's this dinosaur doing here or something. It was a comment, something like that.
I remember it.
That was Kaleo.
Stellar being referred to as the crypto dinosaur token or something.
Yeah.
Well, the guy that you were,
it's hard being around so early.
Real enemy.
Yeah, but I mean, being around early and still being around, that should be viewed. Dinosaurs aren't here anymore. They became extinct. So we're still here.
Being around early and then having built something in the time that we've been here, I think, is the takeaway.
Yeah, and I mean, 1 year in crypto is 15 years of their life. It's almost like dog years. So since 2014, we're heading up to 150 years old or something. So yeah, we've been around a while.
It's called Cunningham's Law.
You're literally over there.
The best way to
That
get
is
the
a
right
short
answer on the
Wikipedia.
internet is not to ask a question, it's to post the wrong answer.
There you go.
Pretty
Stellar
valid.
2023 marketing is just posting a
That
bunch
sounds
of the
like-
wrong stuff.
That sounds like one of those like Reddit laws. Is that from Reddit?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
that
Oh,
was-
it's XKCD. There you go.
At least
Yeah.
I didn't go into the Urban Dictionary.
Yeah, I don't think that would have been.
Do that off.
We would lose our advertising abilities on YouTube if we did that. Can't be doing that. Cool. Well, what else is there? What else is going on in the community? What else you got planned for us?
I can't say.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
I know. But you can't bring
you
me
ask
on stream
Gordon
and
right
ask
away?
it.
We invited you on. We invited
I
you on
know.
our YouTube channel with our millions of viewers. You got to throw us a bone here.
Got to speculate with
hey, man.
We're gonna get him fired. We better.
I'm not gonna get fired.
He keeps
Not-
looking
not for you
over at
guys.
Slack to see if there's any like exclamation points.
I did look over at Slack just a minute ago. It was a good reminder to check whether I had any DMs. I'm good.
It's Friday. It's like
Either
after
nobody's
hours.
watching or nobody's mad.
After
Which is the
hours
same
on
thing.
Friday. You know, it's tough to.
It is Friday. I just spent the week in New York. I'm glad to be home here in sunny Austin, Texas, where it's like 20 degrees warmer. And I'm ready to have my weekend, guys. What are you guys doing this weekend?
Cookie decorating. Yeah, not my favorite thing. I just eat them. I don't decorate them.
Are you doing that by yourself or with your kids?
Our
It's
friends
like
every year have a cookie decorating party. So
Ooh, that's
the
cool.
kids will decorate cookies and the adults will,
Eat them.
eat them and drink and be merry. I don't know. We got like 9 days left? It's crazy. The time warp that happens after Halloween is just the craziest thing ever.
Yeah.
It's one thing into another. I was really hoping that some of the other community guys would want to jump in here.
Have you been inviting people?
No, there were some people that I was trying to see if they're around. Mr. Beans, he was like really hype on the Stellar 8 Assist, and so I shot him a message to see if he was free, but he was busy.
What if Beans app became the next wallet service to offer the platform?
I think it'd be really cool. I think Beans is the right play.
Yeah,
The right people.
Because Beans so easily switches into yield assets from Ultrastellar, like it's such a weird time to go to a yield asset that's not like USDC, where there's like you can tell exactly where what's backing it and where those funds are going. Not that there's anything wrong with Ultrastellar, but it seems like when you're dealing with aid, the potential for people to swap into a yield asset that isn't fully clear.
I do, yeah. I think there's something to be said about Vibrant app not being like an easy gateway to altcoins.
Yeah.
As much as I love that functionality on every other wallet service, I really feel like this is a good one to start people on, because these are not people, like they're not crypto native, and giving them like options that might not necessarily be the best thing for them is definitely not responsible in this situation.
Yeah. And I mentioned yesterday when Danelle was in Discord that it would be an awesome time for there to be like and she made a good point that it would be up to like the wallet people to do this, but to be able to, if they don't want to off ramp, like if there was an integration with a point of sale system for like QR code scanning, like they don't even need to go to MoneyGram. Like it's a simple setup. I mean, I think we've all done it. It's fairly simple, but if they can literally just go from their wallet, like, oh, it just hit my wallet, I'm at a store right now, and I literally go to the register, and like literally within seconds, you go from money at UNHCR or IRC into their wallet, spend at the store, they're walking out with goods or something like that. Mm-hmm. So it seems like an enterprise fund investment to do some integration with like a POS system or something like that. If there was potential there. What's that?
They need QR code reading though. We need that next step.
Well, I mentioned, I mean, there's so many things that I send over to FCNG, like, hey, we need this, we need to scan, we need to support Muxt accounts, all that stuff. So I think they said that in the next release,
they were going to have it.
They were going to have it. But yeah, that seems like that would be like a perfect, like, then you would, I mean, like I said, not that MoneyGram is a hard step, but it's like, if there was a POS integration and you could literally just do scan a QR code real quick and the money was there and you walk out with goods, that would be amazing. Like,
the only issue I have is that they have they have USDC in wallet, which shows in how do you say the Ukrainian currency? Hryvnia? I'm sorry. Apologies, everyone.
He's Canadian. So sorry, guys.
But if you're showing it in, so it shows the value in the currency, but it's the currency that it's being valued upon is the total amount of USDC in your wallet. So you're going store to store and buying stuff, but you're not buying it with the actual local currency. You're buying it with an American currency. So I would personally like to see in the future more different, and I know they talked about in Stellar Adasis that we can use different stable coins. It doesn't have to be USDC, it can be something else, but I would like to see more options for stable coins for these populations that are getting onboarded, especially if they're going to point of sales.
Yeah, I mean, there is the partnership with Tascom Bank or whatever in Ukraine that they're still working through some electric hryvnia thing, so they've been working on that a while, so maybe that could be a thing. But I mean, as far as Vibrant, like, are you saying that, like, if there was a QR code and I'm at the store, I see my wallet has $2, but like the shelf says like 850 hryvnia, like, are you trying to say, like, can I afford that? Like, how do they figure it out or something?
No, it says the total amount, but it says the total amount that you have in that currency, but the actual currency that you're holding is a different currency. So you're like essentially getting someone that's not holding the local currency. I don't know. You should give them the chance to hold a local currency that they're interacting with, is essentially what I'm trying to say. Does it make a difference what you're holding? No, but you should be able to, like, have the actual asset that you're buying stuff that it's priced in.
I disagree.
There's also the consideration of stability.
Yeah,
I think choice is great, but I think choice is the most important part here. Is you can't usurp an economy and just replace it with a USDC. You need to actually offer them the opportunity to choose what they want to choose. That's where I'm coming from. And then, like, if you're just getting a dollar denomination, it doesn't mean anything. You're not actually holding that asset. You're holding somebody else's asset. So if you're going to the store and you're interacting with a storekeeper, and yes, they can choose to hold whatever they want, but they have to have the opportunity to hold that on chain. If they can only take USDC because that's what they're taking as a vendor into their account, then you're forcing them to take USDC. And of course, as everything becomes easy to hold, like, as it goes mass market, everyone's holding USDC, and it can also be damaging to a market. So we need to have more opportunities on chain for people to choose what kind of financial tools they want to use. I don't know. That's my opinion personally, and maybe that's as like I said it before, as a non-American. I'm just saying, like, I like, if I'm not going to hold US dollars and go buy something from a Canadian store, that doesn't make any sense to me. And I know that they can.
Well, your currency is also not experiencing rapid inflation. Like, if the Canadian dollar was like that, and you had the chance to hold USDC until the point of sale, and then it converted with a path payment, then you would probably feel different, right?
But everyone switching to USDC would force hyperinflation on everyone and a devaluation of that currency. So people at least need to be able to decide. We can't usurp or choose our financial systems for other people. Like, if we're choosing that they should and have to use USDC, it's just creating conditions that's decided by North Americans. Like, it should be a choice.
Agree with that part.
Yeah, that's the spirit of the industry, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, the Anchor Network, I think it's kind of like a snowball effect. The more of these projects that pop up and the utility becomes there, like, the Anchor system is just going to continue to grow. There's going to be more stable coins come on for all the different places. all the different countries and currencies and stuff like that. So, hopefully this is just step one. Someone just created this little teeny tiny snowball and just like gave it a little push, and like hopefully it'll pick up steam and just grow and grow, and there will be more countries find a benefit here, and regulations not going to come in and try and crush everything, just take a heavy-handed blow at it. But
I think you said it perfectly though. Like the Anchor network that we have, like Stellar is the platform for this. Like we have a built-in order book on our layer 1. Like if we live in a multi-coin world and every single stable coin is instantly transferable or conversion to another one, like it doesn't matter what you're holding. So there's like limitless
at a market rate too.
There's
no at a market rate with no middleman, I think is the best part about that.
And so I feel like we need to honor that multi-coin world, and that I'd give the opportunity people to hold those assets. Like we do have a certain identity that we hold with the money that we hold. So again, I think Stellar is just great for this kind of mingling of all these different currencies and all these different markets. And if UNHCR is dealing with all these different markets, like it's just perfect because it's instantly transferable to all these different things.
Raf, would you have the same opinion if they were sending CAD to Ukraine?
I don't think they should send CAD to Ukraine.
That wasn't the question.
Me too.
Like, I don't think it's a good thing at all. I don't think if you were saying CAD to Ukraine, it would just be totally irrelevant.
I mean, that's kind of the reason why with MoneyGram,
I think if anyone disagrees with you, I think if you put it in that perspective, it's kind of it's a little bit of a light bulb situation. It's like, yeah, why would you do that? But
do you feel weird when you go to another country and you use US dollar? Again, like it's funny because it is the global currency.
Yeah.
But do you feel weird as an individual when you go to a store and you're not using their local currency?
I get charged more money, so I try not to do it because they put an additional charge on it.
Mm-hmm. But is it weird? Like, is it like a weird feeling to like?
I view it
as convert somewhere else. I don't know.
I view it as they'll take it.
Yeah.
Just get rid of cash. Just use who needs cash anymore? Like in Italy for Meridian, I don't think I only stressed out about having local currency when I was like I had to take a long taxi ride to get down to the next stop after Meridian. And I was like, they don't want a credit card and they're not going to want my US dollars. So I actually ran into MoneyGram and offered them some USDC into some euros. So it worked out great.
And you're right though. Once we go to a digital economy, it doesn't matter what we hold.
Did you use like your Canadian debit or credit card in Italy?
I used my credit card.
Did you feel weird about it?
No, because they get paid with whatever currency that I'm paying with. It's
okay.
The irony is that
I would not use USD cash in another country.
I use cash.
I would not use USD cash in another country.
I used my MasterCard, which I pay a conversion fee for.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
I didn't feel weird about that because I paid them for me to not feel weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it settles into their bank account in their local currency. So, I mean, it's just kind of like that, the Stellar partner, like CoinQuest. It's like you can accept whatever on your website and people pay with whatever coin they want. And then through Stellar, it automatically is going to convert into whatever you as a business say. Like if you're in Canada, you can get a different stable coin or something. You're in the United States, whether they pay with, an anchored Bitcoin or something like that, like it's going to automatically, transfer over and be USDC or whatever you define. So yeah, as long as it happens in the background, people wouldn't care.
And I agree with that. I think that's why we're like the perfect place for this to happen.
Yeah.
When do we open it up to
questions?
People, strangers that we have never met or seen anything about?
I think we know. So we've got Blake from Emigro or whatever, right? So he's over there.
Blake, Enrique. But I'm talking about like strangers coming up on stage.
I don't know if you can.
Let's see if I have anybody commenting. Somebody DM me. We'll send you an invite. You can get on video.
You are opening it up there. That's a big opening, boy. See, the other day was the first day that we did this to Twitter.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure how that worked. I didn't know if comments through Twitter would show up here like all the other ones do. But
what if they do?
I don't know, because off in the sidebar it just shows a bunch of YouTube. So I was assuming most everyone was commenting on YouTube as opposed to Twitter there. But
well, we spent an hour on this now. It's officially the weekend for me. So
you're not trying to work overtime this week, huh?
Raph, what video games are you playing right now?
Octopath Traveler is what I'm playing. That and some Breath of the Wild.
Did they do like a re-release for Octopath?
There's a second one coming out soon. They did one for mobile. Okay. It's completely different.
I see. Yeah. I just beat Golden Sun.
Oh, I love
Golden Sun. I'm on that retro JRPG train.
Oh, so good.
And this weekend, they do an alpha like playtest for this game called Dark and Darker, which I think they just named it Dark and Darker so that it would have they could call it D&D because it's basically Dungeons and Dragons, but it's Dungeons and Dragons like PvP extraction style. So you and a bunch of other people are put into a dungeon. You crawl around, kill monsters and stuff, but you also kill other players and you grab their loot. And if you die, you lose all your loot. But if you can get out through like a limited number of portals, not everybody can get out. You get to keep your loot. You can buy new loot that's better. And then you go back in, you rinse and repeat and go basically rob people. But they do a monthly play test. It's like usually a weekend, but this one is a week long. I'm very excited about it.
I didn't know you enjoyed robbing people so much, Spintax.
Yeah. I don't, it's so far outside of what I do in my day job that I indulge in it. And
the balance of opposites. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, throw me an invite if we're testing live this weekend. Let me know.
For Dark and Darker, it's free too. It's a free alpha. I think it's not beta yet, but it's really good. It's like
I just don't know how you have the time for this. Like you're married with kids. Like I understand Raph. Like Raph's just engaged. Like he maybe has some wedding planning to do. He could play video games. How are you playing video games?
Kids go to bed here. Kids go to bed at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. until question mark. That's my time. And
I thought you were playing Game Boy when they were in the bathtub.
Yeah, so I do a lot of that. If I'm playing Lifeguard in the bathroom, I'll play Game Boy. That's a great time to game. But yeah, in the evenings, like at 9 p.m., if I'm not having to do work stuff, I'm gonna be grinding out some levels, be getting some gold ingots and rubies and sapphires.
You know what else came up this week? Totally unrelated. I'm so sorry, Jerome.
It's
you guys are geeking out on games. I thought you were going to go with something different.
We talked about your cookie party. You had your moment in the spotlight.
Witcher 3, the remaster came out on the 15th. So
I didn't know you were a Witcher head.
Oh yeah. Well, I've never beaten the third one. I'm still in like that Irish island, whatever it's called, and I've been there for a really long time.
Have you read the books at all?
No, nope. I've unfortunately only watched the TV shows.
Starring the one and only Henry Cavill, who, by the way, in entertainment news, is working on getting the rights to Warhammer 40K and is going to be making a Warhammer 40K film and television content. I'm super excited about. I'm a big Warhammer 40K guy.
I'm going to have to start playing Total War or something.
Yeah, man. Get some minis. Next time we meet up, we can play some Warhammer.
Yeah, when do we convert Jerome to some video games?
You need to play something that's violent. I feel like you're really stealing stuff from people, and
we got Jerome to do the Discord activities games.
He was really good too. So
yeah, it's golf, and
J-Rome's a gamer at heart. We just gotta beat it out of him.
If I could find an extra 6 hours in a day, then I would do it. But I would.
How many hours are you on a bicycle?
You can game on the bicycle.
You can do that now. We have the technology.
That's dangerous.
You can hook your stationary bike up to your PC and have it be like the forward key for you. You can play World of Warcraft while cycling.
Bike. I mean, I do have a Peloton bike, and it is just like a big Android screen, so I know you can load stuff on there. But that's like a short thing. I don't need anything else. Kids go to bed, then it's like relax for a little bit, and then usually, spend time with the wife. That's
your problem. I'll spend any time with your wife.
Big mistake. Lose the wife, time for video games.
Good thing.
No, you balance it out.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough balance.
That's podcasting.
Yeah.
You got to stop doing this. we got to do video games. It's almost. I got 2.5 hours until I got video game time.
Speaking of Spintax, we play video games while we podcast. Therefore, you get paid to do video games.
Yeah, sounds great. The day one I got hired, I started pushing for a Twitch show.
Yeah.
Where I just like talk to people and do like Let's Plays.
I love that.
I think we might actually be moving in a direction where that's a possibility.
I like this. This is great.
People like having fun, it turns out.
I love having fun. I'm all for it, but it's got to be I can't have like a Xbox and stuff sitting in the house or something. I will waste too much time, or something on the PC. It's got to be like the little Discord night that we have where, Zach comes and just dominates us in some drawing game or whatever.
Yeah. And video games. He'll probably destroy us in video games too.
Yeah. If you play Quake with that guy, watch your back.
Oh man. All right, cool. Well, I guess enjoy your video game night. I'm gonna go stuff my face. I literally got back from that bike ride like 15 minutes before we jumped on here. So I literally have a little snack here from last night's leftovers. I was trying to get some food in me, so now it's time to go.
Before we go, one last thing. I saw Blake was calling out me doxing my name with my coffee mug, but I did want to give Anka and the community fund a shout out. If you helped out with the initial review process, you got a cool coffee mug and some tea, which I haven't tried yet, but I imagine is pretty fancy. I need to try it.
Stellar branded tea, huh?
It's not Stellar branded, but it's a nice tea.
It is Stellar.
It is Stellar.
It might be.
But it might be.
You're working on your dad jokes already? Not even a dad yet. You gotta prime in the pump there. You gotta work on those dad jokes early. Tough competition, I tell you. Cool. Well, appreciate you letting us host your Speaking with Spintax here.
Thanks for pulling through. Elon let me down. So
yeah, you hadn't seen the news. I was the one that had to let you know that it wasn't going to happen. I had my head buried in the sand. 7:30, and they posted a tweet. They're like, "Hey, we're having issues. We'll be there in 5 minutes." And then 5 minutes later, whatever, it was like, "Yeah, this isn't going to work. We'll talk next week." So,
when Elon rage quits, we'll be here for you, man.
When Elon, we're here. We'll pick up the leftovers. We'll take the scraps.
I'll have to go somewhere.
The additional five people that were available on Friday to come hang with us.
Yeah, Friday night is a great time to try to get people to watch your live stream.
Yeah, not ideal.
Blake says it's almost 9 and I have beer. So, I mean, that's a call.
I'll sit.
Perfect. And Enrique says he got coffee instead of tea. Yeah.
If I had coffee right now, I would.
Did they base that on where you were? They figured he wanted coffee.
You got coffee in your box?
Yeah.
I think I might have told Anka I don't drink coffee.
Oh.
You got to pick. I remember there was a form that you filled out.
A form? Oh.
Yeah, it was. Do you like coffee or tea? Yeah.
Now you remember. Okay.
I got some fruit infused tea.
Yum.
Anyway, sorry. Well, you get back to your bowl of food.
Yeah, I gotta go do that. But cool. Well, thanks for jumping on. You guys enjoy your night of gaming ahead of you and the rest of your weekend. We'll try not to bother you, John. I know you're trying to set boundaries, so
I gotta get to my kids.
We'll try not to bother you too much after hours.
He says kids, but he means video games.
Yeah. I just play video games with them. So
okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, I don't think we have any questions as opposed to just comments in the chat. So I think we're done.
All right.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks for having me.
Love it. See you guys.
Adios.